Hi, I'm Ruth.
And I'm Debs.
Welcome to the Art Alchemy podcast, authentic conversations on art and cultivating a creative mind.
And today we're going to be talking about why it's a good time to be an artist.
Yeah, I thought this was a really relevant topic for today because there's a lot that's changed in the last 10 plus years and a lot that's changed around behaviour of pre-COVID as well. So there's a lot to talk about, but I think it's a really positive conversation because I think it's never been easier to break through and carve your own career within art, whether you're a business or whether you're just doing it as an interest. So
yeah, what I like is the fact that you can shape your career around what you want to do and around your art. That's what's amazing, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of choice.
I remember graduating back in 2008, and I think things felt a lot different back then compared to now in terms of the autonomy that you have now for your own career and business and what you want to do with things. Back then you were very reliant on trying to find gallery representation, and there were limited avenues that you could go down. And gallery owners were really the gatekeepers of the art world, and by that I mean is that you had to have some sort of relationship with a gallery to even have a chance of your artwork getting out there and being seen.
2008, so that's really not very long ago.
No, not that old.
And I remember probably 2014 when I was doing my degree. And I did a degree in creative writing, but they were just talking about self-publishing, and there'd been vanity publishing before then, but this was different. And it was around Amazon, actually, because Amazon started to create these abilities to be able to publish your own work.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get known, the emphasis was on competitions, so you could create your own work. It's very interesting. So the person who, in fact, we're going to probably have her on the podcast, Mel Woodend, she actually was Staffordshire Poet Laureate through lockdown and everything. She now publishes other people so they can self-publish. She edits their work. And she's done quite a lot of work just getting out there, doing poetry. It's almost like Mike Nights. She calls them something different, but that sort of thing. So she does a lot for promoting, getting your own word out there. And it's very similar in art, isn't it? Does that make sense? Quite interesting, because I remember looking at the self-publishing thing myself.
Yeah, because essentially your platform to show your art would have been galleries, and the way in was always getting that direct connection with galleries. And quite often, more often than not, it would be more about the people that you knew within those circles, sadly, rather than your actual talent. More often than not, there were people from similar sort of social economic backgrounds that already had a foot in the door from family or friends. So you didn't see the diversity that you do now in galleries because it was closed off to a lot of people. So I think things are definitely changing, and there's more change that needs to happen in terms of diversity that we see now.
You still have the networking side. You still have to network with others, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You still need those personal relationships, but I think that initial getting yourself through the door feels much easier than it used to. And I think a big part of that is technology that we've got now. It's much easier to connect with people and showcase your work on things like social media. That's been a huge impact, I think, for artists. The fact that anybody can set up their own social media page for free and get started, and other people can find you. I think the golden years of social media have gone in terms of being able to reach loads of people and quickly get a gathering.
I think probably there's so many people on social media, it's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, but also the way the algorithms work and some of the advertising. I know a lot of people who are getting very sick of social media because you can go there and post daily and you're still finding that you're not reaching people, even those that are your followers. And
even
that
people
really,
that have signed up don't necessarily see your posts. And I think other people are getting a bit fed up with social media as well, but just with all the adverts that are on there, and just actually what they signed up for was to connect to their friends, not be shouted at by adverts. So
yeah, it's interesting what's happening, because you'd think they would be responding to that, because they must realise that maybe it's just a time thing and that people are, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely worse than it was.
Yeah.
As well as social media, we have websites. So it's now very easy to develop your own website. And when I started developing websites quite a few years ago now, really, I started business in 2016 and I had a WordPress website. And a lot of people have WordPress websites still, and it's very good. But you need to have quite a lot of knowledge to run a WordPress website. Whereas now I've got a Shopify website. So I did get a web developer to help me initially, but it's so easy to use this Shopify website and to do it for myself. And yet it is very powerful as well, because it is easy to sell your work or sell your workshops through that. So everything becomes a lot easier to do.
Definitely.
Would you agree?
Yeah, you don't really need the same level of technical knowledge now to build your own website. I suppose the other thing as well is that websites look really professional now without much effort. So you've got like your own templates on there that you can use, and it just sets it out really nicely and makes it easy for other people to find you as well. It's definitely a big advantage that we've got in terms of building your own website, having a homepage for yourself. It comes back to that visibility thing that we were talking about with social media, but you can have all of your portfolio in one place. You can have a shop to attract customers. You can start building your own newsletter as well, which is a really important thing for an artist to be able to keep connected with other people, because like we were saying, social media is less effective now. So if you can build a good email list through your website, that's another way of connecting with your collectors, and the emails do go into their inbox. So it does help you a lot, doesn't it, in terms of building up sales and also just keeping in contact with people about what you're doing. And that might be also keeping in contact with galleries. If a gallery's found you and wants to know more about you, then often they'll subscribe to your newsletter to see what you've been doing, how your work's developing. So it opens up that opportunity as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only thing is, if you build a website and then you don't do anything on social media or anything to drive the traffic, that includes keeping your email list in contact. When I say social media, I'm using things like YouTube, as well as, we're talking Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. It's your social media of choice, LinkedIn. You need something in order to drive the traffic to the website.
You do.
So you can't build a website. So it's not easy, is what I'm trying to say.
No, you still have to put in the effort to get people to your website and attract people and get people to sign up to your newsletter. But that initial visibility piece of getting things off the ground is much, much easier than it used to be.
It definitely is. And I think, I can't remember what I pay for Shopify, but it is between £20 and £30 a month. It's not hugely difficult. It's not a huge amount.
Whereas previously, if you were finding a web developer to do the website for you, that can be quite expensive, can't it, Debs? There's like an initial outlay to get them to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't realise, in fact, when I started using Shopify, and that's, I don't know how many years ago, for 5, I don't know, it was before lockdown. It was before Shopify 2 version, whatever it is. It was harder. So there was a lot more coding involved. So I did have a web developer at first to do the things to make it look how I wanted it to look, because it didn't quite look that way. But now you can do all the things that they were doing and do it just from plug and play, move
Clicking
things
a few
around,
buttons
all that
around.
sort of,
Yeah, it's very intuitive,
exactly.
isn't it? And I
It is
suppose
now.
the other thing is as well is that the underlying technology as well that goes into the websites, you've got a lot more choice in terms of different applications that you can plug into your websites as well now. So, for instance, you can link up to a print-on-demand company that you can get prints through them. They'll do the production of the print. They'll send it off to the customer. And that then integrates to your website as well. So it'll almost set up a little shop for you. So it's very, I don't feel like I've even scratched the surface, to be honest, of all the applications that you can utilise within things like Shopify.
The difficulty is keeping it simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, because there's so many things that you think, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
Give that a try.
And I think that's the difficulty in some ways that artists have got to face as well. It's the shiny box syndrome, because there's so many materials available. We haven't even talked about materials and all that, but we talked a little bit about that in a previous episode. There's a lot of new materials coming out all the time. The websites have got so many apps that you can do. You can develop your own app. There's lots of things that you can actually do nowadays. That is why it's a good time to be an artist, because there is so much choice.
Yeah.
That's why it's a difficult time to be an artist too.
Yeah, because you have got so much choice. There's so many different options and so many different ways to run a business now as well, where it used to be quite limited options. With the invention of social media, you can find literally billions of people across the world, that there'll be a customer base out there waiting for you, whatever particular niche that you want to specialise in. And the thing is about social media as well, it's that direct relationship with the customer rather than you going through a gallery. The customer is more empowered to make choices about what kind of art they want to buy as well, rather than being showing like a small selection of certain things that have been selected by a gallery that they then see. So they can literally find whatever they want. There's so much choice.
But also that means that it's a really great time to be an artist, because you can develop your art as you develop. Whereas sometimes I think that you were tied into what the gallery wanted you to do, and they always talk about having a niche, and yes, you do need to have a niche. You do need to be honing in on what is your art, but you also need to be developing and changing and moving
Definitely.
in order to improve your art. And I think sometimes it's been difficult for people in the past as well.
Definitely.
And we're not having a go at galleries because we think galleries do a great job. So I think we do need to come back to galleries and say how galleries fit into this now, because it sounds like
there's still a big part of that. Yeah, it's just
Exactly.
the landscape has changed, hasn't it?
Yes.
In terms of how much kind of power they hold is not the same as it used to be. But galleries have definitely still got their place, and they do a lot of fantastic work. I suppose as well, the other side of this is if you wanted to be a gallery owner and wanted to open up your own space or your own DIY exhibition, that's a lot easier now, because you can connect with other people and find information online as well. So
yes. Next year, we're hiring out gallery space with a collective. That's not the same as that are representing artists. It's not quite the same. But it doesn't mean that there's not opportunities like art fairs, those sorts of things. That's where the artist decides, yes, okay, I'm ready for this now. I'm going to do it. And quite often it's a bit scary on your own sometimes, and a collective is great.
yeah, because you can support each other and lean on each other, and it's much easier now as well just to find people that are in your particular subject field or close closer to you geographically as well online and make those connections. The other aspect of getting yourself set up online and getting a website is it's great for people finding you, for galleries finding you, but if you turn it on its head, it's great for finding information online, because obviously with the internet there's so much out there now in terms of opportunities and things that you can find to get involved with. So things like there's open calls for galleries. They quite often do open calls that then you can apply to take part in exhibitions. Connecting with other artists as well is a big part of establishing a creative practice.
And we've talked a lot about who are established artists or artists that are trying to establish themselves. What we haven't talked about is learning art as well. So there's lots of opportunity now for you to learn yourself online, whether you're a hobby artist or an artist who's starting out. There's quite a lot of self-taught artists nowadays.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that was the same in the past. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think there's more opportunity now to go down the self-taught route, because there are so many courses and information that you can find online about different techniques. But I think the other aspect is as well of the business side of it. There's a lot more that you can pick up now from courses and things on the business side to get yourself established and to make money from your art as well. So
yeah, and also you saying that's quite interesting, because I think you can't nowadays be an artist that's represented by a gallery and doesn't do the business side.
Yeah, you've got to.
And that's actually a difficulty rather than an opportunity, isn't it? In as much as, yes, it's an opportunity. Yes, you can build your own business. But if you're not somebody who wants to run a business, it's difficult to become an artist or an artist that's recognised online, unless it's purely through a gallery. I'm only just thinking aloud. And that also means that, yes, you can do it if you get representation, but then you haven't got the opportunities if you do it that way.
You've not got that. Yeah, you've not got that same direct connection with your customers that I think is so essential, even if you are represented, to build that relationship with people. Because essentially that's what business comes down to, isn't it? People interacting with you, getting to know you more as an artist. And I think in the art world that's so important, because it is a very personal thing that you're selling. You're selling yourself, really, aren't you, through your art? Yeah. There's no way of getting around that. Yeah. It's not like you can come up with a generic product that's just going to sell itself. It's to do with that human connection, isn't it? And you've got to be able to find some way to market yourself. I think the good thing is now is that there's so many different avenues that you can go down to do that. Whether you're a video person, you can do YouTube, or you might be more of somebody that wants to write blogs and articles, but you have to do something and pick something to get yourself out there, don't you?
And you might have to try a few things in order to know what suits.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because we're going more down the video route in a way. However, we do some blogs as well, don't we? So we both do blogs, I think.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to do it all. You can't.
You can't. You have to. And I think it's important to pick the thing that you're going to be able to sustain as well, and that goes along with your interests. So yeah, I think with anything where there's lots of opportunities and lots of options, it can become a bit overwhelming as well, knowing what to choose and knowing where to start.
Yeah, the trick is to narrow it all down.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
It's not, no.
Particularly when you're a creative.
Yeah, and you just want to try everything.
Yes. But going back to YouTube, for example, so if you're completely new to art, you can go on YouTube and say, I'd like to start watercolour. How do I start watercolour? It's not like a course because you are looking at particular little bits.
Yeah.
But I definitely have learned a lot.
Yeah. It's a good way and an easy way to dip your toe in as well, isn't it? Without... Previously, you probably would have had to commit yourself to like an evening course or something like that, wouldn't you, to find out whether it was for you or not. But the thing is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home and just try a little bit as you go, which is a really good way of working out what you want to do, whether it's a hobby or an established business. It seems easier than ever just to get started with things. Yeah. And I think that really picked up during COVID, didn't it? With us all being stuck at home, there was a big boom in like artist courses and Zoom calls and workshops that I think people became more open to those experiences because you didn't have that in-person aspect, you know, we were at home.
It's definitely a recent thing for certain, and because in 2000 I was going to the library to look things up. I think when the kids were young, which isn't that long ago, 20 years, we did have a computer, but it was only just coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It is. And I remember the early stages of the internet as well. If you think back, it did take quite a few years for it to establish itself as well, didn't it?
Because I was in IT and I think we were rolling out 98, 99, so we had intranet. That is amazing when you stop and think about it. 25 years.
Yeah, and how much has changed since then. We are living in a technology revolution. Things are changing that fast and there's so much going on.
You even realise it?
No, I know. All the different features and everything of technology. So yeah, I think overall it's a positive thing. I think sometimes it can be a bit concerning for artists as well in terms of creative skills that are still needed because there's so much now that you can automate with technology as well. That's probably a different topic though. Let's not start talking about that.
Starting to go down the AI route.
Yeah. I do think though, since COVID, I also think the other side of that is that people are also keen to have in-person experiences. So I still think it's important to get yourself physically out there, whether that's in a gallery or art fairs, festivals, workshops. There seems to be more of a thirst from the public to do those things since COVID because I think essentially because we were all locked down and we couldn't socialise and we realised how important it was to do things in person as well.
And I also think as well, people treated themselves a little. So just after COVID, there was a bit of a build-up for some people. Obviously, some people lost their jobs, but and I'm not lessening that. But there were others that had sat at home and hadn't been spending money.
Yeah.
And there was a definite people treating themselves to art, wasn't there?
Definitely. There was definite boom in art sales. I found that I got a load of commissions during COVID and generally speaking, people were stuck at home staring at their walls, literally, weren't they? So they were probably a lot of people did stuff at home to the houses or did like renovations to their garden and things like that, didn't they? Because they were spending so much more time at home.
We did the studio. This is a double garage before.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
So we just thought, what do we do with this time?
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think, tended to, their yearly treat would have been a holiday somewhere nice. So they've got that extra money to spend at home. And I think in particular, it was probably art as well, because people were wanting more of a human experience and a connection. And to me, that's what art is all about, something personal to you and expresses yourself.
Yeah, my art's all about connection, So we're on to takeaways. What have you took away, Ruth?
I think the biggest thing that struck me during this conversation is the fact that there are so many opportunities now for artists, that I think the more important thing is to focus on what you want to get out of your art practice and being really specific around that. And there's so much technology and tools now to support. Be open-minded and really follow your instincts about what it is that you want to do, and the opportunities are there in order for you to shape that into something really specific and personal. And that's what I've been thinking about.
And my takeaway is something that I've been really thinking about, because it's very easy. I've been a self-taught artist, so I've gone out there looking for things, looking for materials, and there is so much.
Yeah.
There's just so much, which is fabulous because that's where the opportunity comes from. But it's almost like a danger.
Yeah.
It's not a danger, and it's not really going to harm you, but I do think that for you to progress and move forward, you need to take a little bit at a time.
Yes.
And see whether it actually suits you.
Yeah.
And then move forward. And I agree completely with the open-mindedness. But I think that I've started to move forward once I started reflecting. Sometimes coming off all the information, writing it down, so in a journal or something, just, it's like being mindful of the learning.
Yeah. And mindful of your choices and your next steps, because it's very easy just to get sucked into that, isn't it? And just spend all your time looking at the possibilities.
And going down complete rabbit holes repeatedly.
Yeah, and thinking that you've got to have everything all figured out before you even start. But I think it's really important, like you say, to take it step by step and take that step back out of it and think about what you want to get.
What I sometimes do is I think to myself, just 3 things to focus on. One on its own can be too much. It can be almost too focused, but like 3 things. And whether that's 3 products or services that you're offering.
Yeah.
Or 3 things that you're learning.
Yeah.
Just focus on certain things. And I think that's my takeaway, really. Actually, been about the challenges and the fact that having a lot of opportunity can actually be a little bit difficult sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. It can make things more complicated, can't it, if you're not careful.
But going back to why it's a good time to be an artist, I feel like it's really obvious. It's fabulous. The opportunities are amazing.
Yeah, it's never been easier, really. Yeah.
The way you shape yourself, you can shape your business and your art to who you are.
Yeah. And really be authentic to yourself, which gives you a lot more satisfaction, I suppose, that you can really be your own individual that's working in whatever field that you want to. And I think
look at what you've done.
It feels like night and day since I graduated, and then where I am now in terms of all the things that are open to me. And I think in terms of the way that we've shaped things together with our art membership links back to our podcast in terms of encouraging people to be creative, and the type of artwork that we do as well, that's more about, I suppose it's uplifting and about honouring yourself and being authentic. So it all links back to each other, doesn't it?
It does. And I think once you start to focus on a certain thing, then the others knock on because it all makes sense.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
Yeah, it does. It does, to get that kind of that bigger picture. Yeah. And you don't have to have everything figured out before you even start. That's what stops a lot of people, doesn't it? I think just get going step by step.
Yeah, I think when you look back, you probably almost have to start way earlier than when you think you're ready.
Oh, you do, definitely. You have to start before you're ready. If you think back to all of the challenges that people don't see getting this podcast up and running. You might never have started if you'd known all of the things that you've got to do. So
yeah, people don't know, but I have an echo in this ear. It's driving me nuts. You know, we're still doing it, aren't we?
Yeah. You just have to get better step by step, don't you?
You do. Okay, and I think that's all for this episode, unless you've got anything else to add.
No, I don't think so. Just obviously you can comment on our podcast if there's any particular episodes that you want to see in the future. We always love to hear feedback from people. And if you are interested in joining our membership, we've currently got that open now for people to join.
We have. In fact, I think this goes out on the 1st of September.
Yeah.
When we're open for founders.
Yep.
So we'll definitely put a link below.
So if you are interested in joining Art Hub, which is our online creative community, we open today. So don't delay in having a look at our link to Art Hub.
Yeah.
And get involved.
We've had our fabulous testers in.
Yeah.
So that's been exciting.
Fun. Yeah. It's a membership that's open to anyone that's creative. We accept all levels, right from beginners up to professional artists. So we've got a really nice mix of people in there already with a lot of experience. And we've got things like chat forums, live workshops, inspirational articles. So it's a really nice, friendly space that you can come and join and learn a lot from and connect with other like-minded people as well.
So each week there's an activity released on a Monday. Mm-hmm. There's also a live workshop once a month. It's really exciting for us.
It is, and it's a fabulous space, and you get to try different aspects of art making in a way that's easy to digest and fun as well, and engaging, and gets everyone involved. And it's outside of social media, so you won't get all that kind of background noise. It's a nice, instead of sort of scrolling Instagram or whatever you might do in an evening, it's a nice way to spend a couple of hours in an evening, isn't it? Because we've got things in there as well that you can watch back and do in your own time as well.
And because we've also got such a mix of people, we've got the Ask the Community, so you can ask any art question, and I think most things will be answered.
Yeah.
And if they're not answered, we'll look them up.
Yeah.
The power of the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, and we've got a little space for just general chit chat as well, and sharing information on like exhibitions and arty things going on in your area. So it's really lovely. Nice people.
Yeah. And I'm adding some beginner things for those beginners out there, so don't feel that you can't join either, because it's like really good space. You'll learn.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Okay. I think that's it for now.
Yeah, I think that's us. We'll see you soon.
Bye for now. Bye.